Hi everyone, I'm Casey, and I'm assuming you're here because you've either read my blog, Middle School Teacher to Literacy Coach, or possibly you've purchased something from my store on Teachers Pay Teachers. One thing you might not know about me is my name is no longer Casey Keel, but Casey Bergman. I did get married this summer, and part of the gig with getting married was moving into my husband's house. And as you can see behind me, I did inherit some awesome built-in bookshelves that run from floor to ceiling, and it has been like my life dream to fill floor to ceiling bookshelves up with books. And I definitely, between my professional development books for school and just the books that I read and the books I keep to read for my classroom, I have definitely filled up the bookshelf and could probably use another one. So today what I did is I pulled 4 books off of that bookshelf that I want to share with all of you. These are books that I would recommend having in your middle school classroom library that I have just grown to love and have kind of been my go-to books. And also something this year that I really hope to do is I really hope to do some videos that I post on this YouTube channel that just go along with my blog posts that I do. So the first book that I have to talk about today is Seedfolks. And Seedfolks is unique because it is actually written with a different narrator style than most books are. As you can see on the first page, the first chapter starts with the character of Kim. And if you page through to the next chapter, it goes to the character of Anna. The characters are never repeated. I believe there's around 12 or 13 characters total in the book. And what happens is the story unfolds based on the characters' connections to one another, which is nothing besides they all live in the same apartment complex at the not so nice end of town. So if you are teaching point of view, narrator, being critical of how the author chooses to portray the story to the reader, if you're doing any mini lessons like that, this is an awesome read aloud that coincides with that. And it's also a great read aloud if you're looking at theme and that type of thing as well. The next book that I picked up for you off of my bookshelf is The Tiger Rising by DiCamillo. Obviously, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of DiCamillo as an author because of Winn-Dixie, The Tale of Despereaux, that type of thing. But a lot of people haven't necessarily dove into this book, The Tiger Rising. One thing I love about DiCamillo's writing style is her use of figurative language. So if you are doing anything like mini lessons with figurative language in your classroom, this is the book that should coincide with those lessons. I know there's lots of great books out there, but I've never read one that's quite so poetic. It's almost more of a poetry book than it is an actual book. As you can see, like if I page through it, I have so many notes written in this book just because, once again, it's just so rich. There's language in here that just makes it, you can almost just feel it in your hands type of thing of what the author's talking about. And also, like if you're looking at character analysis and really, really digging apart of how an author describes a character to the reader, this is the perfect read aloud that's going to go along with any mini lessons like that. The next book that I selected is A Long Walk to Water by Linda Sue Park. This is a book that I did when I did my research unit for writing with my students. I found it really interesting because Linda Sue Park, in order to write this book, she interviewed Salva, the main character of this book, and really incorporated his life story throughout these pages. Once again, it's very interesting narrator perspective in this book. The chapters alternate between Salva's point of view and let me see if I can just page to it quick. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So it alternates between Salva's point of view, who, like I said, is the main character, and he's a real person that this book is based off of, and then a fictionalized character named Naya. And the book is set in Sudan, and it deals with the issue of having fresh water. And basically, Each chapter usually starts with a short blurb from Naya, who is living in present-day Sudan, and her village is, she has to walk each day, a whole day's walk, just to get a basin of water for her family. And then it jumps into Salva's story, and that's about 23 years prior, and it goes through his story of him as a young boy, and his journey. And what's really interesting is by the end of the book, of course, their journeys collide, and it's such a cool book as far as having students ask questions and then go out and research about different topics that are brought up in this book and find out, how does an author take real events and put it into a fiction story. Another really interesting type of writing that I've done with my students is narrative nonfiction, where you actually go and you do research on a certain topic that you're really interested in and you put it into a fictionalized story and you include all those accurate topics, kind of like historical fiction as well. So if you are interested in doing anything like that, this is a really neat book to consider. And my last book that I have is Out of My Mind by Sharon Draper. If you're a fan of wonder and type books that are kind of like that, this would be a great next book for your students to read if they loved wonder. Sharon Draper, I'm a huge, huge fan of her books. And I think this is an awesome read aloud for the beginning of the school year. The reason I like that is because students are really able to see through the main character in this book, Melody, who has cerebral palsy and is not able to talk, to walk, to communicate, but she's got a photographic mind and she's basically a genius and nobody knows it. So this is Melody's story, and it really, helps students see that typical cliche of don't judge a book by its cover, and really think about how you're treating people and how you're making them feel. So this is my last book recommendation. If you want to see those books again, just check out my blog, and I've got links to all the books on the blog there. So I hope that you enjoyed this today, and I really look forward to seeing you as the school year progresses, and I bring you some great middle school literacy info. We'll see you soon.